Welcome to the Brain Film Festival. Thank you so much for being here. My name's Alicia. We just came out of seeing The Reason I Jump, the opening film. Congratulations on the film. It's informative, obviously, but I think more than anything, fiercely poetic. So congratulations.
Thanks.
I think this film is going to take, or has been taking, a lot of people off guard in their preconceptions of what it is to be autistic, what it is to be a caregiver of someone who's autistic. I think that moment that Naoki says, I would choose to stay as I am is, brutally such a powerful moment, especially the way you put it together with the train and the sound and the fury. Was that the thesis of the film for you?
I guess if there's a sort of thesis behind it, it was to understand autism, and particularly non-speaking autism, as a kind of dimension of human, capacity, of humanness, and rather than to sort of spend our times looking for a cure, look at kind of what can, first of all, look at supporting autistic people and looking at, how can autistic people live a kind of full lives and be part and contributors to our societies.
Yeah, I found that, especially in the directing with, the sound and those moments of pondering of just images, it mimics so well, I think maybe is what you were trying to do, or it's definitely what the spectator takes in. It mimics kind of the experience of being autistic. Tell me a little about the process of why you decided to film the way you did the film.
Yeah, for me, it's less like a simulation, because I don't think that's possible. In a way, neither of us know how each other's subjectivity works. I can't see the world how you see it, and you can't see it how I see it. But I guess what we were trying to do was to get an audience to just see things a little differently, and to use Naoki's book as the jumping off point for that. So, one of the things that Naoki says is that he perceives detail before he can put those details together into the big picture, and that sometimes that detail is either incredibly beautiful or incredibly disturbing or irritating, or that sort of he becomes very immersed in the detail. So that kind of gave us a method, I guess, for some of the shooting, particularly with Amrit, because she's a visual artist. We wanted to explore that world of seeing things in detail.
What was the process of how you found each autistic person that you then decided to follow? I mean, the film was done over, from what I can tell from the shots, over a couple of years.
So, I mean, I guess the first thing that I did, having read the book, was to go and meet with Naoki and the author, Naoki Higashida, in Japan. And he was very happy that the project would happen, but he didn't want to be in it himself. So that sent the film out in this other direction, which was a more global. I wanted it to feel global, to show autism in different kinds of society. It wasn't so much a matter of casting people, but there were reasons why I picked the people I did. Amrit, I came across Amrit's work online, the visual artist in India. And, that felt to me a great way of getting into a different way of seeing, because her paintings, which started as a way of communicating with her mother, have now become this incredibly productive artwork. And then Joss was the son of the producers, so I knew that we could spend time with him and shoot maybe over a couple of years, as you say. And it was in the middle of his adolescence when things were difficult, and it felt okay, because of his connection with the film and the film's makers, to be with him in that period. And then in the States, I was interested in people that use the same communication method as Naoki, but also people who maybe were more outspoken about autism and could take us into a slightly political world of, this is who I am, and then I'd already been filming in Sierra Leone, so I was interested in the way in which autism played out in Sierra Leone, and I came across Mary's amazing work in the villages with parents, and that felt to me that sequence in the film kind of takes you out from the individual into what can the society offer to include people.
You shot this film obviously before the pandemic, before COVID.
Mm.
Are you in touch with the people in the film? I mean, I just can't imagine now with being closed in, and what do you know of how everyone's doing?
Yeah, I think the pandemic's been particularly hard for disabled people generally, but particularly for non-speaking autistic people. I think Joss in his school has only been able to have one kind of visit from his, or maybe like a few more couple of visits from his parents over a year. Amrit, I know that they've been spending obviously a lot of time in the flat, and Amrit has done some amazing artwork during the lockdown, huge paintings.
You showed not only obviously the autistic people, but gave very much attention to the caregivers or the parents. Was that a conscious decision? I mean, I can't imagine how you could show one without showing the other, but
Yeah.
It's a great balance of not just what it is to maybe be autistic, but how this is affecting.
Yeah, in some ways the challenge was the other way around, was like most films about non-speaking autistic people are about caregivers, and I guess there's a couple of reasons for that. One is that the caregivers can speak on behalf of the autistic people, and the other is all the difficulties around issues of consent, I think. So for me it was really important not to focus only on the parents' story, because I think the parents have a story, or the carers have a story, and it's a very dramatic story, but it's not the autistic person's story. So it's like, how could you really be centered in the autistic person's point of view?
What is Naoki up to now?
So Naoki is now 26. He was 13 when he wrote the book, and he has written 8 books, I think, altogether now. His most recent book was called Fall Down 7 Times, Get Up 8. And it's a really interesting comparison to The Reason I Jump. The Reason I Jump is very much the work of a child or an adolescent. It's full of it's quite an angry book, but it's also full of like a desire for the world to understand him. And in some ways it's quite naive as a book.
Well, thank you so much for making this film, and thank you so much for being here with us tonight, and looking forward to seeing more films of yours.
And thank you for showing it. Great.